Let you start. Let me start right now. So, the for the speaking topics of June 2024, I haven't found any topics that are quite challenging in terms of the speaking. So we don't have any speaking topics, and I don't cover any speaking topics for the last couple weeks. Okay. But for the writing topics, for the writing task two, for June 2024, there are some additional topics that I found to be quite interesting, quite challenging. One is like this one. Okay, it's like this one. And we're going to talk about some of the hard topics today. Yeah. For those who joined late, please, this is the link, okay, for the uh, June 2024 writing topics, okay? And we're going to talk about them today. Okay, so we have seven topics, and hopefully I can cover them today well, with a bit of luck. Now, for the first one, okay. Uh, in Vietnam, we certainly do have this, but in other countries, if you consider the case of the Netherlands and some European countries, then there are dedicated lanes on any street for um, car drivers and cyclists. So basically, cyclists and car drivers and also motorbike drivers do not share the same lane. Okay, now, so this one is pretty straightforward, not too difficult. Okay, um, the reasons and the measures to solve this problem. Okay? So first of all, let's consider the case of Vietnam and uh, Hanoi. Ho Chi Minh City and Hanoi. So the two metropolitan areas in Vietnam, there are just a lot of streets, just a lot of people, millions of people living in both cities. Unfortunately, and here's the thing, if you consider about, let's just say 5 to 10 years ago, well, if you consider, let's just say, take back all the way back 30 years ago, the economic condition of Vietnam, which is really poor. We were a low-income country. And as a matter of fact, not a lot of people could afford to buy a motorbike, let alone a car. So owning a motorbike or owning a car at that point in time was a luxury that not a lot of people could afford. And most people would just, drove a bicycle. That's it. That's the main mean of transportation for many, many families. Okay. So these are writing task two topics for June 2024. Okay. And so when Vietnam we develop, okay, and then we build more roads, the expectation, I mean, as the economic condition of our country develop, more and more people switch from bicycle to motorbikes, or from motorbikes to cars as our economies develop. So as you can see on the road right now, just not a lot of people riding bicycle. Most people would ride motorbikes and cars. Now, consider today, with the economic advancement of Vietnam for the last 10, 20 years, now people are talking about, well, you know what, let's get healthy. People care more and more about their health. And cycling is becoming sport rather than a mean of transportation. Okay, cycling is no longer a means of transportation. So, okay, I want to go to work. Okay, let's ride a motorbike. Let's ride a car. Let's ride Grab. Okay, people don't talk. Okay, oh, let me take my bicycle out to ride. So many cyclists, most of the cyclists today in Ho Chi Minh City or Hanoi, most of them are, okay, sport people, basically cycling for health purposes and not for transportation purposes. Okay. And only in the last few years, when our economic condition improved, that people start switching back to bicycle, right? So let me explain this. um, in Vietnam, okay, uh, uh, in Vietnam, okay, 30 years ago in Vietnam, the economic condition was poor, and most people had to ride bicycle for their daily commute. As our economy develops, okay, people switch to motorbikes and cars. Today, with our economic advancement, um, pe people do not choose bicycle as a means of transportation. Rather, uh, many choose them to exercise. Most cyclists in both Hanoi and Ho Chi Minh City cycle because due to health reasons and not for daily commute. Okay, so daily commuting for health reasons. Okay, and if you consider that is the case, so what kind of problems that we have? So as a result, most roads in Vietnam were built for motorbikes and cars, not for bicycles. Uh, when first designed, basically most of these roads were designed for those two purposes, right? Now, of course, we are not like the Netherlands, we are not like some European countries. You have to acknowledge the fact this that in terms of area, then why riding bicycle is very popular in um, Europe because of the close proximity of everything in Europe. I mean, if you consider the total area of the Netherlands, okay, is this is how much? Okay, 41,850 kilometers square. Now you have Belgium 30 smaller, Germany is bigger. Okay. Now if you consider the Vietnam, for example, we are 300. Where's that number? What? 300. Okay, so if you consider the areas, internal areas, Vietnam is like 10 times bigger internal area comparing to Belgium and comparing to the Netherlands and, you know, comparable to um, Germany in terms of total area. If you consider case of, let's say, Finland, okay, very big, but most of the area of Finland unlivable because of the extreme weather conditions. It's very cold up north, right? Now, if you consider the case of the US, okay, the total area is huge. It's a million, okay, 9 million, right? So for small countries like the Netherlands, like Belgium, because of the small area, it's pretty everything. Okay, consider the city of Amsterdam, for example. Most things are pretty close to each other, and so riding bicycle is a viable way, is a viable method of transportation on a daily basis, right? But in Vietnam, or let's say in the US, for example, or even in Australia, daily commute with a bicycle is unfeasible. And especially in countries with harsh weather conditions, consider the storm, snow, cold, or heat, it's just really, really difficult to ride a bicycle to work or to school every day. It's almost impossible, if not impossible. Okay, so it's a most road built for motorbike and bikes. Only in recent years that the number of cyclists increase. Okay, um, due to higher awareness of health. That's it. So now this is explain the situation, right? So okay. Many cyclists have to use the same road that the same roads that are built for motorbikes and cars. Therefore, uh, the accidents might happen given that the speed uh, as motorbikers and car drivers. Okay, um, car drivers cannot uh, do not drive slow enough to avoid accident with cyclists, right? Um, so that is one of the reasons. One of the reasons, and we had to use the same roads. Okay, some of the uh, problems. Okay, why is this the case? Problems for both of them. Furthermore, many cars on many roads, car drivers and motorcycle, okay? Motorcycles have to drive slower to avoid cyclists. Okay, uh, they have to do that. Oh, motorcycles. Okay. Now, so what are the measures? Okay. One of the measures which is quite expensive and has been implemented in many European countries like Belgium or the Netherlands is um, many countries like the Netherlands or Belgium have dedicated lanes for cyclists in their city. Therefore, okay, thus governments uh, like in Vietnam can follow the suit, can follow suit and build more roads for cyclists. This can help reduce traffic accident as well as promoting health uh, for citizens. Okay. Now that is one of the things. Better health for citizens. Another one that another method you can use is that cyclists can practice at earlier or later time to avoid earlier time in the day, earlier or later time in the day when traffic is less crowded. Okay, so yeah, this is currently what happening. Many cyclists wake up very early in the morning and they cycle at 4 or 5 a.m. in the morning, or maybe they cycle very late. Okay, some days where the traffic is less crowded. Okay, if governments cannot build more roads, build more lanes for cyclists, they can dedicate uh, some road in some dedicated some roads. They get certain hours in the day for these sport enthusiasts. Okay. Now, what do I mean by that? So let's say in Ho Chi Minh City right now in Hanoi, a big, huge container truck cannot get into the city before 10 p.m. at night. So that's why if you drive the street during the day and until 10 p.m., you do not see any huge container cars, okay? Unless you actually go out onto the highway. From 10 p.m. until 6 a.m. No, I think 5 a.m. in the morning, 4 or 5 a.m. in the morning. I don't remember what is the specific hour. Okay. Okay, there we go. Okay, 6 to 9. Okay, okay, right. Oh, okay, 9. Sorry. So between okay, 9 p.m. to 6 a.m., okay, 9 hours, then huge container truck can actually go into the city. And so basically the government can actually dedicate certain hours in the day for cyclists. So yeah, Nguyễn Huệ Boulevard between 4 to 6 a.m. will be dedicated solely for cyclists and no motorbikes, no cars can get in. People can do that, okay? It's just like when they dedicate some lanes or the entire street for the marathon, okay? VN Express marathon, things like that. So let's continue. Let's continue. So these sport enthusiasts, right? So multiple solution, okay, for this, and then you can certainly drive better, safer during the day. So I think that's good enough for. I think that's plenty enough in terms of ideas for the first topic. Let's go into the second topic. It has been suggested everyone in the world, and I think this one has a lot to do with this topic. Okay. So let me put these two topics together. Right. Now, what's the disadvantages? Disadvantages, advantages. Okay. Now, when they say that everyone in the world wants to own a car, a TV, and a fridge, basically they are not specifically saying that people want this, and this, like only three things. People want more. What they are saying in this sentence, this question, is that there's a material need that people possess. Everybody wants to have a very basic, okay, uh, basic condition for living. And a very basic condition consists of, well, a car, a TV, and a refrigerator, or some other things. So um, most people, most of the world today do not live in poverty. Uh, people, uh, people have have achieved a certain level of living standard. This living standard, uh, okay, requires people to have a transportation vehicle, such as a car, in some developed country. A car in the US, if you buy a used one, it's pretty cheap. You can buy a reasonable one that can drive you to work for like 2 or 3 years, and it's probably going to cost you maybe $6,000, $7,000, and you can buy a good used car. Okay, I purchased one, right? 6,000, 7,000 US dollars, basically 120 to 150 million Vietnam dong, and you can have a car that can drive, basically. Now, car, okay, a mean for entertainment, such as TV, okay, okay, the electronic devices that support daily living, such as a fridge and washing machine. Okay, such a fridge and a washing machine. Now, okay, I mean, so and let me put and yeah, okay, here goes such device and vehicles help make our daily lives easier. Okay, it's a pretty standard. Okay, and so the sorry, this is the explanation. Okay, and then I'm gonna discussion. Then I'm gonna talk about advantages. So What are the advantages of having a car? Okay, a fridge, washing machine, a TV. Okay, these such devices and vehicles help people save time. I think this is the biggest thing. Okay, if you're talking about washing machine, you don't have to clean your own clothes. You only have to put them in, and then you wash them, and then you dry them, and then you only have to hang them. Now, in some cases, you don't even have to hang them. As long as you can purchase a dryer, then a dryer can dry all of your clothes, and you just have to fold them or maybe iron them. Okay, the only two things that you only have to do now is to iron them. Okay, giặt là. Okay, giặt là xong rồi phải ủi. Đấy. Iron them and then fold them. Okay, put in your closet. So save time. And washing machine, from a historical standpoint, is an outstanding machine that helped many generations of women save time. It's just a fantastic piece of equipment. And then you consider the case of refrigerator. Refrigerator, well, help maintain fresh food. Okay, so instead of having to go to the market every single day to purchase fruits and food and vegetables and other things, now people can just go shopping for one time per week and then put everything in the fridge, which basically saves a lot of time. Okay? A fridge helps a person reduce time for daily shopping, daily grocery shopping. Okay? A person only need to shop one time or per week or even less. Okay, so let's just say in the case you have a huge fridge, you can go shopping for like one time every 2 weeks. And then you put everything in the fridge, in the freezer, in the fridge, and whenever you need to eat, you just have to unfroze them. Great, awesome. Or even less. Mm. Uh, to have food to eat. So, fridge. With a washing machine to eat. Washing machine. People do not have to spend time cleaning, washing their clothes, right? Clothes. Or even drying them. Okay, so now we have combined machine. So this tremendous amount of time saved allow people to do other things that they love in life, allow them to work more, to make more money, allow them more time to relax, reduce stress, and allow them to, let's say, watch TV for entertainment. A TV helps people entertain right at home. Okay, so with all of these very advanced TV, very high definition, and consider the case that the European Championship, right? The Euro is going on. People can watch these matches on this huge big screen at home without having to go out on the street. And well, it's safe, it's convenient, and it's cheap. It's pretty cheap. Okay, I don't have to pay for food. I don't have to pay for drink. I don't have to pay for transportation to go out. It's good, right at home, which saves time and money. Okay. Wait. I'm letting some students in. Let me give me a second. Okay. Uh, Next one. Oh, so set up money. So it's pretty convenient. Now, what are the disadvantages? So one of the first thing that you have to acknowledge is the environmental impact. A refrigerator, air conditioner, uh, actually release harmful gas, toxic gas into the air and actually contribute significantly to global warming and climate change. All right. A fridge and a fridge, or sorry, refrigerators, and air conditioner contribute significantly to climate change. Okay, due to the toxic gas that they release. Just really bad. Okay. Now, a second thing that these devices, the convenience of such devices can make people lazy by reducing the need to walk or to exercise. Now, I have this theory. I have this theory that I don't know if there's any research proving this. I don't know. But life expectancy for women in Vietnam is the life expectancy for women and the life expectancy for men. Okay. There's actually a 5-year difference between the life expectancy for the two genders. Now, okay. Okay, 5 years. I'm saying 5 years, right? You can actually see this 5 years. And so women tend to live 5 years longer than men do, right? So I have this theory. Sorry. I have a theory that the reason why women live longer is because, well, they do more housework. They do more house chores. Many women, well, when they cook, do they sit down cooking or they standing cooking? So in most cases, women stand cooking. And there's been significant research in the last couple of years talking about the need to stand. Okay, we spend so much time sitting. And the more time that we spend sitting, the less, okay, the shorter that we live. There's been research, okay? Sitting too much, resulting in lower life expectancy, okay? And then others, right? Those sit more than 11 hours a day have 40% increase rate of dying within 3 years, comparing to those who sit less for 4 hours a day. Okay, now I'm still sitting for a very significant amount of time during the day. I ride my motorbike, that sitting, okay? I sit down to read books, that sitting. I sit down to do work on computers, that sitting. So that's why I have to stand today. So what I'm saying is that my guess is that because women stand up more than men do, especially in Vietnam, they live longer. They live longer because they exercise more. Now, when I'm talking about exercise here, I'm talking about they are standing, doing work, doing house chores, cleaning, okay, and other things. Men are kind of lazier and don't do those things and then die sooner. Yeah. Sorry. I have a theory. I don't know. I'm saying this is my only my theory. I don't think there's any research, okay, about this area yet. Maybe if some of you or maybe one of you or any of you actually is interested in this, then actually doing some research about that. But that's my again to this point where that these devices, especially with a TV, it's easier for you to just sit there and let me switch the channel on Netflix. I have no idea what I'm watching. Well, people lazier, okay? You just need to walk to exercise. Well, resulting in poorer health. Okay, disadvantages. Another disadvantage of this is that people can use these devices and vehicles to judge the level of success of others. Okay. So I don't drive car. I don't have a car. I do not. My family does not own any car. We don't. So I heard a story, okay, from one of my colleague. Now she and her husband are pretty rich. They have their private drivers. but they don't own any car. So basically, they have a private driver, and the private driver has a car. And so whenever they need, they just call. And she told me that she lived in an apartment building in District 2, okay, pretty rich area. And when some people hear that, okay, when some people hear that, well, they don't have a car, they don't actually own a car, then these residents do not talk to her anymore. I mean, yeah, I don't have a car, but I have a private driver. That's what she was thinking. And so many people, I mean, some people actually judge other on the their ownership of material things. So if they don't own a car, you are not successful. Okay. So I'm not in that school of thought, so I don't really care, but some other do. Okay, so that can be considered a disadvantage. Yeah. So we have a lot of advantages. We also have a lot of disadvantages to discuss for this topic. Okay. Let's go to the next one, which I think quite relevant today. Um, this is the basic of capitalism. This is the basic idea of uh, this is the basic idea of well, the market economy, kinh thị trường, right? That people do things that they do for their own greed and selfishness. People open their own businesses for their own greed and selfishness in making money. You study for yourself, your family, make money for your family, okay? And there's, as the economy continues to develop, now, obviously, we have a lot of people doing charitable works. I have to acknowledge that. A lot of people sacrifice their wealth, their time, and even their lives, okay? Even their lives in the support of other people. Very honorable, very respectful, okay? However, okay? Uh, most people, I have to say most people, that is the basic thinking of life. If you don't care about yourself, nobody cares. Okay, you should only fight for yourself. You should make money at the cost of other people. Okay, you don't really care about other people. Right. So let's talk about agree and disagree. So, um, individual greed and selfishness have been the basis of the market of the market economy. The selfishness of individuals create intense competition in the business world and in turn drives innovation. Uh, and there's a term that people use, the what they call creative, sorry, destructive creativity. Okay? Destructive innovation, destructive creativity, or destructive innovation, whatever the term that most people use. Now, consider the case of Microsoft, consider the case of Apple, okay? And Facebook, they beat most of the competitions. The other company died, including MySpace, Yahoo. Okay, people don't remember Yahoo anymore. We don't talk about Skype anymore. We talk about Zoom, but we don't talk about Skype anymore, right? So um, this is the basic of competition, okay? And this some competition because it's driven by the self-initiative individual because Sam Altman and OpenAI wants to create and promote AI usage around the world. Now, people saying that, well, you know what, AI will destroy jobs in many areas, and that is completely true. AI is doing that right now, destroying jobs worldwide. Many people will lose job, maybe potentially me in the future, as there's no need for a teacher like me anymore. You can actually just talk to an AI with the voice of Scarlett Johansson, okay, the voice of the ChatGPT 4.0, sorry, 4.0, and then Scarlett Johansson kind of like sue Sam Altman for using her voice without her acknowledgement, without paying her money and things like that. So, that's a different thing. But you would have a teacher that can work 24/7, has a very sexy voice, okay, like Scarlett Johansson, okay, the lady that played what is that? Black Widow, okay, in Avengers, right? And she can teach you any time of the day, and she can patiently wait for you and help you all the time, anywhere, anytime. No teacher in the world, including me, can ever provide a service that an AI like that can do. Now we have to thank Sam Altman about that. That is create destructive, okay? Creative destruction. Creative destruction. Okay, right? Killing previous businesses for the development of our own. Okay, now drive innovation. Oh, sorry. This is I have to disagree first. Disagree first. Okay, this is a disagree. Okay, create intense condition. Therefore, okay, governments should continue to encourage such thinking in order to promote economic growth, okay, development, and improving living standards for people. This is a good thing, right? Now, yes, there are so many bad things about AI, but at the same time, AI is just making tons of money for Sam Altman, for Google, for Microsoft, and even today for Meta with the free Llama 3. Okay, creative destruction. That's what they call, right? Creative destruction, right? So I disagree that we should not return to an older and more traditional value of respect for the family and the local community. Okay, because international companies, okay, furthermore, international companies compete to bring the best products and services to people worldwide, right? So the death of and the closure of many of the wet markets and the local traditional markets in many countries, and not just Vietnam. Okay, who caused that? Well, Eon Mall, Big C, Mega Market, Coop Mart, E-Mart, for example, in these big cities, right? So here's the thing. Would you like to go to Eon Mall for shopping, or would you like to go for, go to a wet market for shopping, which is dirty, maybe crowded, not very convenient, okay? Very loud, very noisy, right? A lot of bargaining. Then maybe your mom, your grandma, your grandpa, or maybe, the older generation are used to it, but you are not. You would go to Eon Mall to shop because it's much more convenient. So, is that a good thing? Well, for you, yes, that is creative destruction. Okay? The destruction of the local market, of the wet markets, of the people working in those markets. Give other people Eon more. Okay? International companies compete to bring the best product and services to people worldwide. This help improves the standard of living, but at the same time, destroy many local businesses. Okay? So, respect for the local community and local community, nah. Okay? Because who are the people working in those wet markets in Ho Chi Minh City or Hanoi? The local people. The local people. So what do they do now? Well, You know, maybe you can start working for Grab, for example, maybe a Grab biker, or maybe do live streaming and sell different things. I don't know. Right? Okay. So this help improve the standard of living, but at the same time destroy many local businesses, which is a, you know, I think in a sense inevitable, unavoidable. There's nothing that we can do about it. This is creative destruction. In the process of creating, making new things, we have to destroy many of the old things, including the old ways of life. Well, obviously, the rate of depression, the rate of mental problems increase significantly because people today do not connect with other. You have to acknowledge the fact that people go to a traditional market, a wet market. Oh, I know. Hey, bà Sáu, bà Bảy, ông Nam, you know the people selling in those street markets, in the wet markets, and the daily conversation. You go shopping and you meet these people and you talk to them and you laugh with them. You make jokes with them. You enjoy the companionship with those people. Those things actually reduce your stress. Those things actually reduce mental problem because you are able to communicate with other human beings. The fact that we use things online continuously every single day and avoid human contact result in loneliness, depressions, anxiety, and even suicide. Convenience, obesity, mental problems, disconvenience, walking, standing, healthier, less mental problem, but well, you have to do the work, right? So there's actually, you know, good and bad things on both places, both things, right? Now you can agree, climate change has been the results of intense individual greed and selfishness to develop industries to make money at the expense of the local environment. Right? It's true, right? Why do I care about environment where I can just make money for myself? I can just dump all the waste, the industrial waste directly into the environment without any treatment because I don't want to spend money installing equipment to clean or treat those waste. Why do I have to do that? I can just dump them directly and save me money. Yes, that's what happened. So the result of the intent industry. It's just really bad, right? Furthermore, uh, well, you can actually talk about the breakdown, the respect for the family. Okay. Um, we talk about the respect of the family, and furthermore, the rise of nuclear family in recent years is actually due to now. Why is the rise of nuclear family? Young people in countryside, in the other areas of the countries want to make more money. Now, if they live in their hometown, they would be able to live comfortably. I have to say they can live in their hometown comfortably. However, well, big cities like Ho Chi Minh City and Hanoi have this allure, attraction that, oh, come here. You see the cars, you see the high-rise building, you see the luxurious goods, you see the beautiful ladies, you see the handsome guys, you see the job opportunity, you see the food, okay, right? And well, oh, this weird. Mm-hmm. Wow. Okay. Wow, this is amazing. It's great. Let's go to the city. And by going to the city basically mean that they will need to leave their parents behind in the countryside, right? And one of the reasons why young people today in Ho Chi Minh City and Hanoi do not want to have many kids is because they do not have the support of their parents. They do not have the support of the grandparents. Okay? And so both of them working, the wife working, the husband working, they do not have time to take care of the kids. And that's why in Vietnam right now, okay, in summer, okay, when my wife, okay, she know a lot of parents, and some of the parents are just asking my wife, hey, what kind of summer camp are you sending the kids to? Okay. And my wife's like, nope, all my kids stay at home. They do not go to any summer camp. They have never been to any summer camp, and they will probably not go to any summer camp because there's no need for that. I stay at home. My wife they stay at home. We take care of our kids. But well, that is a luxury that not a lot of families and couples could do, unfortunately, in this day and age. So it's actually okay, the rise of nuclear family and the breakdown of extended family, extended, extended family in recent years are actually due to the individual greed and selfishness to pursue wealth in metropolitan by young people. Okay. Young people want to have an economic chance, want to make money, to want to experience the life in big city. Okay, all those great thing about big cities. Okay, the food and things like that. So what do we do? Well, let's just go to those cities. Okay, right. Furthermore, okay, many traditional values and art forms have been neglected by young people in pursuit of more popular form of entertainment such as K-pop and Taylor Swift. Oh, I know there's just a lot of Swifty here, and I also like music from Taylor Swift, but for some reason I'm starting to believe that like the Swifty and Swifties and Taylor Swift, she's not just a singer anymore. I feel like she is a leader of a cult. Okay. She's the leader of a cult and no longer just a singer. Like there are people just dedicated their entire lives to listen and to worship her and to revere her. And she's just not just not an entertainer, but to some people, she's like God. And I have seen that in some of the fan base of Taylor Swift. And I'm just, wow, it's weird. It is weird. I think it's just weird. That's all. Okay. So you can agree or you can disagree, whatever, right? There are just so many reasons. But the fact is, despite all the negative things going on right now, despite climate change, despite that the wealth income gap continues to widen worldwide, we cannot and nobody will stop. Governments will not, and I don't think Sam Altman or the leaders of Google and Microsoft and Tim Cook will stop the AI evolution. No one will because there's just so much financial incentives and financial awards for pushing AI in every single sectors of our life. There's just so much money to be made that, yeah, all the destructions will happen, will definitely happen, and a lot of people will be affected, but few will make a shit ton of money. It's just a significant amount of money, and we just cannot avoid that. This is how it's working right now. Destruction, creative destruction. Okay. Anyway, so that's why I really like this question. Okay, I really like this question. It is so true today. But Well, there's nothing people like you and me can do about this. This is the world. And this is how it's going to be. This is the creative destruction that we are experiencing. And so, will you be, which side you're going to be on? The side to be destroyed by this advancement? Or you want to ride this wave and be more successful than ever before in human history? Okay? I don't know. That's a question for you. I'm kind of old. I'm 40 already. Okay, I'm kind of old. I'm kind of like, yeah. Okay. Now, next one, which is a very, very interesting thing. Now I have students, I have former students working in many parts of the world. I have people working in the US paying 30%, 20, 30% of annual taxes in terms of income tax. I have people in Singapore, okay, paying 10% income tax. I'm talking about this topic, okay? And I have students, former student, now she's working in Dubai, 0% income tax, 0% income tax, okay? 0% in Dubai, 10% in Singapore. In Europe, it's like 30, 40, even 50% income tax. The US, about 30%. In Vietnam, about 20 to 30%. Okay, so uh, agree or disagree? Now, let's say I disagree first. Uh, for many uh, uh, for many countries like Vietnam, governments need income tax, need to charge income tax, income tax, and sales tax in order to provide basic services to their citizens. Okay. The reason why public schools in Vietnam are very cheap and also free. Okay, public school, elementary to middle school, free in Ho Chi Minh City and also in Hanoi. In Da Nang, high school, up to high school, completely free, right? Now you can pay other things if you want to, but in terms of tuition, it's free. So why is it free? Because the government with income tax and sales tax and other taxes, they pay for those services. They pay for the teachers. They pay for the schools. They pay for the constructions of those buildings. If you consider the case of public hospitals, same story. Why is it cheap? Government subsidize. Okay? No, thank you for me. No. We are talking about these topics, okay? Now, so first of all, we have to disagree of this, okay? This statement. Now, government need to charge money, okay? For basic services to their citizens. Consider the case of Europe, okay? Consider the case in Europe. Income tax in Europe, okay? Right, so the highest income tax, the average top personal income is 42%. In Denmark, it's 55%. So basically, every single 100 euros that you make, the state will get 55% of that, and you receive 45%. Okay, right? So you have to acknowledge the fact that, well, wow, these countries, they have amazing public services. They go into hospitals for free. They go on buses for free. Well, actually, it's money coming from you. You pay 55% of income tax. You definitely should have very good basic public services. Okay? It's just that. Now, consider the case of the Middle East, Qatar, and United Arab Emirates, UAE và Qatar. These countries, they have so much money from selling oils that I have a lot of money selling oils. I don't need income tax. Okay, so let's charge 0%. So I have students making $80,000 in Dubai. And that 80,000 a year in terms of income is equivalent to 120,000 income in San Francisco. Okay, because, well, they get charged 30%, 40% in terms of income tax in the US, state income tax, local income tax, state income tax, federal income tax. Dubai, 0. Singapore, 10%. Okay, so, well, uh, to their citizens. Okay, so you can actually consider the case of European countries, talking about those countries as well. Okay, yeah. Yeah, for those who just joined, I'm just giving ideas for the latest writing topics in IELTS for June. Okay, so just access this link. Okay, that link to have this. Now, next disagree. Okay, let me disagree that I disagree with the idea that people should not, they should pay taxes. Okay. In addition, tax income tax revenue, sorry, allows governments to build important infrastructure that improves standard of living. Okay, so consider the case of highways. We have so many highways these days, right? Going from Ho Chi Minh City to Phan Thiết, okay, only about 2.5 hours. If you from Hanoi, okay, to Hạ Long, for example, Hanoi to Hải Phòng to Hạ Long, only about 2.5 hours. Okay, so amazing. It's very fast, very quick. Well, someone had to pay for those things, right? And someone had to invest money in building those infrastructure, those highway system. Government. And where do they get the money from? Infrastructure coming from income tax revenue. Okay? Therefore, okay, people should not keep all the money they earn and should pay tax to the state in order to have safe and comfortable life. Okay. Now you can actually consider the case of the police who are paying income to the police, the governments. Where do they get the money from? Your tax money. So you want to have a safe place. You want to have more police patrolling, less crime. Then yes, you need more police, and you need people paying for police. All right, money. Okay, nobody's going to do that for free, right? Police men and women also need to have money to live. We're all human, right? Okay, you want to have a highway system to drive very quickly from one place to another. You want to have good public school, but at a very cheap price. Okay, you want to have good hospital, good doctors, and not paying a lot of money like the crazy healthcare costs in the US. Then you need to pay for more, basically. Right? Comfortable life. So many aspects of life that tax money actually allow people to do, right? Now, on the other hand, let's talk about these Middle Eastern countries, Qatar, United Arab Emirates, Dubai, all those countries, yeah? And why they not charge, okay, right? So, in some countries, like in the Middle East, like Qatar or UAE, governments have a significant revenue from selling oils and other natural resources that they have enough money to build infrastructure and create comfortable living standards for all their citizens, okay? Now, in the case of Qatar, in the case of United Arab Emirates, okay, if you go to university is, okay, sorry, all the education is free. All education is free until university. Okay, so if you go to universities in UAE or Qatar, with basically all those American school in Qatar, UAE, completely free. You don't have to pay anything. The government's pay for you. That's it. Done. Free. Completely free. And the government even give you allowance, even give you money to spend. Okay, just imagine that, just how rich they are. Okay, so the government has significant revenue, and so they can do all of that. It's awesome. It's great. It doesn't matter. Okay, doesn't matter. Right? So they have enough money to build infrastructures and create. Therefore, in such case, uh, people can keep all the money they earn and do not have to pay tax to the state. Now, consider the case of Singapore. So, but Mr. Nam, Singapore, okay, has a very low income tax, only about 10% in Singapore. Why is that the case? And comparing to other developed countries, consider the US, consider European countries, the income tax, why income tax in Singapore so low? Okay, right? Okay, now, Singapore is really rich. Why? Now, uh, how is, so there are multiple reasons. Okay, so taxpayer company is, now that's why, that's the reason why. That's the reason why many companies, startups decide to start in Singapore instead of Vietnam, because the income tax, okay, for company profit, is just really, really low. Just really low. Dividends are tax free. Okay, right? Now, income tax very, very low. Taxable income, Singapore, very low. They have other taxes, and they want to promote economic activities, and they want to draw people, especially foreigners, come to work. They want to have more businesses, okay, coming to Singapore, opening up branches and opening up new offices, and they can charge. So basically, instead of charging a very high price, they charge a low price, but they have a huge volume. So that's why Singapore is overtaking Hong Kong as the financial center of Asia Pacific. Okay, so if you consider like a big company, big corporations, and they have operation in Asia Pacific, in Asia, then most companies will have offices in Singapore or Hong Kong. And in the past, Hong Kong, Singapore competing against each other, but now Singapore is edging out to be the number one in Asia. Okay, it's the financial and the economic center for many international corporations in the world. Okay. Anyway, so consider that the case. Agree. Right. You keep on money, you have to pay tax state. Furthermore, many governments, okay, do not manage their money well, properly, and waste taxpayer monies. In that case, people should be able to keep all the money they earn to avoid such waste. And you have many countries in Africa, and the governments in this country actually are facing this problem because of it's not a very peaceful place. War is still going on, and so yeah, it's kind of really hard for government to build road and infrastructures when tomorrow there's just going to be a bomb and just going to flat out the entire building, right? And so people basically don't have the money as well as the resources to pay for the government. Okay, so in my personal opinion, I think this is this is a very interesting topic. Okay, but personally, I disagree with this statement because there are so many things that people need, you need, I need, that the governments need to provide. Military services, okay, protection of the country, police force, public school. Oh, my kids go to public school and pay very little for it. And I'm just really thankful for that, right? It's a very cheap price to study a good school in Ho Chi Minh City, and it's very, very cheap price, okay? With a good public school, public hospitals, the conditions are good, right? The roads are getting better. Now, there's just a lot of problem in Vietnam, but we have to acknowledge the fact that our economy has developed significantly for the last 20 years. And our living standards now is on par with Thailand, with Malaysia, with Indonesia, and with some of the other Southeast Asian countries. And we have far surpassed other countries, despite the fact that many years ago, we were just really, really poor. Okay? In all honesty, I think it's much more convenient living here in Vietnam, and very cheap living conditions, very cheap cost of living comparing to, let's say, living in the US. Okay, with a comparable income. All right. Any case, so if you relevant example, okay. So if you disagree, use the example to talk about infrastructure and standard of living, such as, let me add some ideas, such as public schools, hospitals, highways, public parks, what else? What else? What else? What else? Um, Roads, facilities, okay, and public parks. And police and military, police and the military. Okay. I want to live in a very safe country. Okay. I don't have to worry about, let's say, consider the case in Ukraine, consider the case in Palestine, Israel, fighting, people dying, bombing. It's just crazy, right? So to be able to live in a peaceful country like this, I think it's a luxury that I have to say a lot of people in other countries cannot. Okay. Right. Health services are a basic necessity. However, private companies have made them quite costly for ordinary individuals. Now, I don't know if this is actually coming from the US. I don't know if they're actually coming from the US, huh? Maybe. Um, I don't know. Okay. Now, the in Vietnam, we do have private healthcare. In European countries, like in France and in Europe, they do have private healthcare, but most people would use public healthcare. Free, cheap, it's just free, it's cheap, right? So, but in the US, they do have public healthcare, but not really cheap. Actually quite expensive. And I have experienced this firsthand when I live in the US, and many, oh, it's not just 10 or 20 years ago, even today, I have to tell you this, many Việt kiều return to Vietnam for basic healthcare. Toothache, it hurts. Okay, why don't you go to a dentist in the US? No, let me go back to Vietnam. It's much cheaper. Why? Well, in Vietnam, maybe just $1,000 or $2,000, okay, maximum. But in the US, that can actually cost you up to 40, 50,000 US dollars, basically your entire annual income. Huh? For dental treatment. Really? Wow. Any case, that's a reality. Okay. I saw many Việt kiều coming to Vietnam, returning to Vietnam, actually coming to Vietnam for basic healthcare services, not just dental, but certain operations. Okay, they will return to Vietnam to reduce costs, because it's much cheaper doing that here in Vietnam instead of going to the US or doing that even though they are American citizens, right? So what are the advantages of private healthcare? And what are disadvantages? So let's talk about the advantages. Consider the case of Vinmec. Consider the case of private hospitals, Hoàn Mỹ, or Việt Pháp. Okay. bệnh viện Việt Pháp, right? Okay, consider those places. So what are the advantages? Well, because they are quite expensive, so less patients. There are less patients served in private medical care facilities. Okay, so when I'm talking about medical care facilities, I'm talking about hospitals. Okay, medical care facilities. Therefore, the quality of service and the quality is usually better than services provided in public hospitals. Okay, so if you go to a public hospital like Chợ Rẫy, okay, or Nhi Đồng, you will see a lot of people, very crowded. Okay, you will see people lying on the floor, right? The parents lying on the floor, the relatives lying on the floor, okay, trying to take care of the patient, right? Maybe two people lying on the same bed. Okay, you don't have a private bed, you don't have a private room, you don't have a private restroom, okay? All those things, you know, obviously because, well, it's cheap, it's free, it's available for everybody. You want to have a private room, you want to have a private bathroom, you want to have a private bed, you want to have a private whatever it is that you want, you pay more. Okay, so it's just like, hey, I'm going on a vacation, I want to live in a 5-star hotel or resort, a very convenient, or I want to live in a motel, pretty cheap, same things. Yeah. So better than the service provided. Now, I'm talking about the services. I'm not talking about the quality of the doctors and the care. Usually, the doctors in public hospitals actually have more experience. Why? Well, where does experience come from? When you treat more patients, you have more experience. Where can you treat more patients? Public hospitals. So that's why most of the doctors, if not all the doctors, including the chief medical specialists in those areas, and if you consider the case of Vinmec, if you consider the case of many of the big private hospitals, all of those doctors are experienced doctors from public hospitals. And then they move to the private sector to have a higher income. Okay, that's fine. That's normal. But they have gained their valuable experience of treating patients and recognizing illnesses and diseases from working in public hospitals, because in public hospitals, there's just so many patients every single day. And that experience allows doctors to develop their skill quickly. If you treat one patient, two patients a day, okay, you're not going to gain as much experience as if you have to treat 30 patients every single day. Just think about that, right? So 1 year working in a public hospital is equivalent of about 10 years working in, okay, one year working in a private hospital is like equivalent to a 10-year of experience working in a public hospital, because just a sheer number of patients that you have to treat. You have to treat, okay? Now, so advantages. The hospitals. Therefore, as a most people, most high-income people would prefer private care over public ones. That's the advantages. Okay. Okay. So I'm like, it's like I'm receiving treatment. It's like going to a resort. I need to have my private room. Okay. Now consider the case in South Korea. Consider the case of South Korea. You watch Korean movies, and you probably have watched some Korean series happening in hospitals. And I have to tell you, that image is not typical of a public hospital in South Korea. That is not. Most of the images that you watch in those Korean movies, a private room, very nice doctor, very nice and beautiful, you know, doctors and nurses, just in movies, and mostly at private care facilities, private hospitals, and not a public one. Okay. Public ones usually only described in documentary and not in Korean movies that you watch. So, okay, be careful. Don't misunderstood. Don't misunderstood. Okay, now, what am I doing? Prefer private care. Okay, so what are the advantages? There are less patients served in private medical care facility. In addition, um, many private hospitals invest significant amount of money in specialized areas. Okay, specialized areas. Okay. Many products amount money in specialized areas. So if you consider the case, let's say bệnh viện Tâm Anh, okay, Tâm Anh Hospital, then they actually have very good care in certain area of medicine, and they have invested a lot of money in doing research in those areas, and they become specialized in those areas. In terms of the public hospitals, they tend to have to treat all the patients, okay, equivalently. So they might not have specialty in small niche area, okay, of medicine, right? Now, obviously, you have to pay more as patients. Okay, you have this rare illness, you need treatment. Then, of course, you will pay, whatever price that need to pay to survive, right? Okay, in specialized areas. Okay. Okay, so for example, Tâm Anh Hospitals. Okay, bệnh viện Tâm Anh is it's pretty near my house, so that's why I'm saying. Bệnh viện Tâm Anh nổi tiếng về cái gì đây? Uh, uh, do, 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 do. Okay. Uh-huh. Alright, bệnh viện Hùng Vương, Nhi đồng 1, nhân dân 115, Nhi đồng 2. Okay. Right, which is good. Okay, they have very good to see. The facility is private. The facility is so good. Okay, air conditioning. Who's going to pay for that? You. For the treatment, you have to pay for all this air conditioning. You have to pay for very nice employees talking to you. All of those things. Okay, all these robots, all these treatments. Oh, one area that private care, private facility is so developed. Okay, and that is cosmetic surgery. Cosmetic surgery. Okay, private care, especially in South Korea, it's just so developed. Okay, because that field is lucrative. So many people want to get beautiful. So many people want to have new faces. And so what do? Well, they go to private hospital for cosmetic surgery, making them beautiful. Okay, so for example, many private hospitals in South Korea become famous for their specialty in cosmetic surgery. Okay, right. So furthermore, private hospitals actually serve to reduce the demand from public ones. Okay, so with the construction of private hospital, it actually reduced the number of patients. Okay, so if I have more money, then I can pay for better services. So why do I want to go to public ones? I can go to a private ones, receive better care. Okay, maybe I have to pay more, but my experience, my feelings much better than receiving treatment. And also I can save time because there are less patients, so I don't have to spend so much time waiting. Okay, and that time saved can actually compensate for the amount of money that I have to pay more. Okay, for such services. Okay, so you actually have that. Now, what are the disadvantages? What are the disadvantages of okay, especially in Vietnam, when public hospitals are always crowded. Okay, or always crowded. Public hospital in Ho Chi Minh City and Hanoi are always crowded. Then private, private hospitals serve to provide services to middle and high income patients. All right. Now, so what are the disadvantages of private hospitals? There are many disadvantages. The cost of medical care in countries like the US are very high comparing to the annual income of citizens. Therefore, many patients refuse to go to hospital because they cannot afford to do so. Okay. So today now, this is why so expensive. Why healthcare? Wasteful system, rising drug costs, medical professional salaries, profit-driven healthcare system, right? So expensive. So expensive. Okay. Doctors. Okay. The disadvantage. In many public hospitals in Vietnam, experienced doctors move to private hospitals because they can make more money there. This result in a brain drain. Okay, chảy máu chất xám đó. Okay, chảy máu chất xám. In many areas and in many institutions. Okay. This is a fact that we have to acknowledge. Experienced doctors, well, I want to make more money, I will move to private ones. But one of the reasons why many experienced doctors in public hospitals in Vietnam. Oh, by the way, if you cannot hear me or if there's any lag, please let me know. Okay, mạng internet Việt Nam bị cáp quang có vấn đề. So if there's if you don't hearing me very clearly, please let me know. Okay, so I will stop and I will switch to a new network. Please do let me know. Okay, so my apology for that. Many areas and many institutions. Okay, but in Vietnam, because the experienced doctor in Vietnam, they usually have their own private clinic. Okay, phòng khám riêng, phòng khám tư. So they stay in public hospital with low pay so that they can operate their own clinics. If they move to a private hospitals like Vinmec, they will not be able to operate their own clinic. They only can receive salaries from Vinmec and not being able to operate their own clinics. And so yeah, it's a balancing act. Okay, public ones very crowded, a lot of experience, but actually they can open their own clinic. Private hospitals, okay, much higher salary, but at the same time, no private clinic. Okay, no operational clinic. So that can be a case. Okay. In my opinion, I think there will always be the need for private hospitals, private facility in any country because it serves a certain population of the country. Okay, people who have higher income, people who have more money, people who have special need, special illnesses that require specific treatment. Okay, then private care definitely serve that and definitely reduce the demand and the need for public institutions. Okay, public hospitals. Yeah. Next one. Okay, I have 4 more minutes. Let me try to cover this one. Agree, disagree. The most important decision that young people have to follow is what career to choose, and agree. Let's just say I'm agree, right? Most young people study hard to have better future. Okay, therefore, the decision on what career to choose is important for their lives. Okay. All right. Now I disagree. I can disagree. Well, young people have plenty of time to figure out what they want to do with their lives. Therefore, they can experience many different activities before choosing a career. Choosing a career. So by experiencing, by developing, by gaining various experience from traveling to community services, okay, they can learn what um, they want to pursue in life. Okay, so if I disagree, I can actually talk about that. If I agree, I think personally speaking, young people today and people working today, I just think that they are very similar to athletes. Okay. Now, what do I mean by athletes? Let's consider the case of Cristiano Ronaldo. He's almost 40. And so, you don't see professional player above the age of 40, right? The best age would be, 16, 17, 18, 19 until 30 something, and that's it, you are done. Okay. And for young people like you, the job market today, what I am seeing is, I think it's going to be like that for many of you. Okay. There's been the curse of 35, the curse of 35, right? Uh, the curse of 35. So basically, when you reach 35, um, most people would find it very difficult to find new job, to switch careers, unless they are in a very high demand or specialized field. Because a 35-year-old woman or a 35-year-old man would be very non-competitive, uncompetitive, cannot compare to a young person in the 20, in the third 20, 22, 23, 24, 25. In terms of energy, in terms of the ability to use the internet and technological devices, and the ability to catch up with the new things in society. Furthermore, with the recent development of AI is a tool to support the daily work of many people, then companies, they don't need to pay higher salary for people in their 30s, 35, 36. They only have to pay cheaper price for people in 22, 23, 24. And then these people, okay, giving them the tool of AI and they can work as effective as the people in the 35. Experience is becoming a more common how no, it's not more common. Experience is becoming becoming less and less valuable given the rise of AI. Okay? Kinh nghiệm không còn quá quan trọng nhiều. When people can actually use AI to substitute their intelligence and experience. And that's what AI is doing to the world. Yay! Okay, sorry. My bad, my bad, my bad. Okay, so it's 3:30 already. I'm gonna spend more ideas on this next week. Okay. But there's one more topic and then we're gonna move. I think I'm just gonna stop here today and let you do the exercise. Okay. Thank you.